1 second, I'm gonna see if the light is any better. Not really. It's gonna be another dark stream. Another moonlight. Alright, we should be live on both platforms. So we finished the pool. Today we're working on ship systems and multiplayer and the ability to have the ships reconfigure themselves. Interesting. Oh yeah, I like this. This is actually really good. Oh yeah, right, and I was gonna update my Steam. Working on multiplayer ships. Yeah, we gotta find a way to get the stream going. Okay, so we need to, let's see, let's get into this. So, players, set the ship ID. I don't think we're using the health change. Yeah, like, I don't know where this comes from. Receiving damage. Oh, it's from the old Descent clone. Oh, that's so, it's so old. Doju. It's all good. I heard like a hey, which sounded like you for a second. Alex, you want to see the craziness that I've gotten to for the game? And also, do you like the fact that I woke up this morning and half the lights were blown out of my chandelier thing? It's great. I love just moonlight, you know. Like, find a use one. Check this out, dude. I love this. We'll play okay, we'll play local just for a second to check this out. Weird. Why is my Steam Deck plugin not working? Yeah, it's like legitimately just not working. Maybe the Steam Deck software is not running. No. What is wrong with this thing? Sometimes you just unplug it and plug it back in and it works. Alright, so this is what's new. Let's do a review. Can I just close this, minimize it? Thanks. Stream Deck, not Steam Deck, yeah. Stream. So look, Antics, I put it in the build. I need more mouse. The very low gravity is hilarious. It doesn't help that I'm playing it very tiny. Looks like maybe a higher DPI. Yeah, I know. Or a button, like a sniper button. At least to be able to hold, to be able to kind of vary, you know what I mean? Like, I just got this working right now, just like, you know, taking the position and, right, and when you scratch it resets, so it's all working, but it's just not performing well. And the forces need to be balanced a little bit. So I got that in the build, but anyway, that's one thing. So this will be like a little work in progress. But change the code, but this is what's new. So all the itemization is now working in multiplayer. So we're gonna head over here to this proto station. And look, it's you, and your thing is working. So let me land here next to you. And I'm just gonna clip through this here. I think a Cat 5 cable is like 4 feet long. Yeah, I think it's fine. So this is the first time I've been able to see this actually work well in multiplayer. Right, so I can actually like disconnect and watch this. Let me so watch this. Alright, antics you're going with. Ignore your glitchiness right now. Let's go to the other side real quick. You can see the raycast hit the other thing. Yeah. Okay, so here we both are. I'm gonna go take it real quick. It's not my ship. I just wanna. This should all work, no matter who the owner is. So if I hit P to power this thing up, I should take authority, drop it, and it should be my ship now. Let me just bring it back. Yeah, this is why there's no collision on the IK right now. But I love that it's coming together for the multiplayer. Yeah, I can't we get the zone system working. I'm just gonna leave you behind by antics. It's slowly becoming a sandbox, antics, which is cool, like a multiplayer sandbox. So where did I put the other ship? I'm gonna take the other ship back over. And it's over in this one. And Antics, check this out. This thing here is a crime area. If you hit it, it kills you. And you wake up in jail. And are you ready for this? We're in multiplayer right now. I'm gonna go and turn on this welding station. It's fully working. Some of these are kind of terrible, but you know. They're a little bit big for a component that needs to be, you know, worked on. The only thing I haven't finished with this is, like, once the player has, like, you know, earned their rep back and they're, you know, actually, you know, working. It, yeah, I got rid of the server debug log for the raycast. It's like, cool, you're no longer a prisoner, but then I don't really have a systemic way in this right now to get you out of here. We just have like the different cells. These need to be updated. So this is cool. Like this is what I like now. I'm at, like, I don't know. There's this weird stage of development where things are now like kind of, they've been prototyped and they're like working, and it's just now like ironing it out and getting it working. Like pre obviously art, but still like, you know, like once you add a bit of art to it and welding and, you know, sparks and stuff and some effects, like it all kind of comes together. Yeah, but all of that and only a couple of replication issues for a missing node. Yeah, and I think today I want to create a new terminal. I want to create a multiplayer terminal version of the ship's mining terminal. Just to interact only with the things that we need for spawning. Let's stay in 16.9 today so it's more readable. Yeah, so we have all these multiplayer, single player systems that need to be switched over. So spawning ship and landing plan. So the star system manager is doing all this work in single player.
I'm gone for a few minutes. Mark.
What's that?
I'm gone for a few minutes.
Okay. Spawn NPC ship. Renew player ship. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff here that needs to be changed. Let's work. So the ship terminal panel. Is this currently doing the work of spawning in the ships? It's using the star system. Okay, so we need network versions of this, so we're still going to use the star system. Right, okay, so all of this has been moved to the Star System Manager, which is keeping track of player ships currently. And because they're different, but not quite. Okay, yeah, this will work. I'll be right back. I use the washroom. don't know why this says that there isn't. Yeah, this doesn't do anything. Yeah, we're saying the Star System Manager, response ship to landing pad, response ship to station is the only thing we have. Sure these. Go back again, 1 second. Thanks for the follow. Is it Filter? Or Fido? Fido Plankton 01. Welcome, welcome. Sorry for how dark the camera is. My light gave out. So it is what it is. Please run clock in your project. Please run what? Hang on a second. Please run clock in your project. Curious to see lock. Run clock. What is clock? Oh, that's actually a good one. Yeah, yeah. I'm actually curious. Yeah. What do I need? Hang on. C lock, Windows. So on Windows, you need a Perl interpreter to run the source code version of clock. Is there like a Windows version or Windows binary? Hang on a second. See all lines of a C# project in Windows. I could open Visual Studio, open PowerShell. Okay, hang on. I got it. I got one. Boom. So from the main project repo, let's go. It's still going. Use Visual Studio Code's matrix. Hang on. There's also, hang on, where's Visual Studio, Visual Code matrix. Go to Analyze, Calculate Code Matrix for Solution. That's taking too long. Where's that matrix? I don't see metrics. Where? Oh, it's called code metrics or line counter from Marketplace. Line counter. There's one almost over 500,000. Sure. Open the command palette, select VS Code counter lines in current project. Or you can do it in a directory. You want to do it in a project level. Maybe we'll do it by the directory. So non-blanks, 34,000. Hopefully that answers your question. You would have thought it was larger. Well, as I keep working on the project, the idea is that the code goes down. The complexity decreases as I simplify systems and refactor them. You know, even these ships, right? I have a network version of a ship, right? Because we have all these RPCs. But in reality, like, this needs to be refactored, and all these RPC functions can go inside its own partial class. So I could just have just one player ship, right? Which is what I want ultimately. But like those complexities of multiplayer, I needed to understand first, right? So I'll just have another like public partial player ship, but the file will be like player ship _ network, right? And it'll be all the network functions as well as these, you know, initial, right, owner ID, like with a backing field. Like this stuff can be moved into another, you know, partial class, right? So that like systemically, without that multiplayer add-on or whatever you want to call it, without that extra layer of functionality, would still work in single player. But you know, because it's not like all these things break single player testing. It's just from the very beginning, it was nice to have a offline version that didn't have to worry about authority checking, and you can fly around, and you know you test the gameplay mechanics, right? Player ship, 192 lines of code. You go into multiplayer, you triple the lines of code, right? But it's all the same logic. You just have all these RPCs. But you know, so because now like when I'm going through and that's what I'm doing right now, I'm like, hey, like, you know, like the only thing different about these player ships, they all have the same functionality, the same modularity to them. It's just one's a different class, right? Which has a few unique RPC methodologies that differentiate it. But there's so much code deduplication happening across the player and the network player and the player ships and the, you know. So like one example of where, like, now that I've gone further, a vehicle as an example, which is like a vehicle body, it's an iVehicle. I'm using the interface for most of the external functions that I want to do with the vehicle, like setting the pilot or setting the gravity, as well as having, I'm just exposing a string name of the name, so I can just through the interface get what the name of the thing is. But what I've done with the vehicle class is I've added all the multiplayer code to it, and it still works perfectly fine as a single player test object. So I need to do this for everything, really, right? And a lot of the way that I'm doing, so I have these like network setups, right? Like this function just runs and checks for my synchronizer and sets up, you know, the authority replication. Like this existing in multiplayer or in single player doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? Like I just don't run it. Like if we're not the authority, or you know, I can optionally just have a checkbox of whether I want it to be tested in multiplayer or not. And then, like everything after this is just a multiplayer code. But like as far as all of the other things are concerned, you know, it can just exist as a single class, because most of its input processing that's happening for moving, right? It's being guarded by the fact that it doesn't have authority or not. Are you setting multiplayer authority on the client or using only server-side authority? Right now, the players in the player and the ships are client authority. Everything else in the level, like my pool game, is full server authority, right? And that's going to be that way until I finish this. Where'd I put it? Maybe it's in Celestial. Hang on, let me. So I created. I'm not ready to showcase it yet, but anyway, I'm building my own network rigid bodies that will ultimately take over the player and the ships as a base class. In other words, I don't need to do anything but extend the rigid body multiplayer. Like it's still just a rigid body, but we're just going to extend. We're going to have the thing extend the rigid body, like the network rigid body, which will then extend rigid body, you know what I mean? So it's just an extra layer, and of course on the ship side I need to extend that instead of a rigid body. And then what I want to do then is individually just kind of start synchronizing the specific things that I need. But this is all going to be under this, you know, celestial replication thing that I'm working on, which will be, you know, I won't need it until. I mean, I probably don't even need it. You know what I mean? Like the client authority works well enough to. I have a wish list that I'm hoping Godot adds before I do. But that's the idea, right? So then it's very simple. We just cause what I've in the multiplayer in my test project. Let me show you this thing. Boom. Oh, of course. Absolutely. Right, but until like we're kind of reliant on building our own, you know, reconciliation rollback system. Right, I know there's NetFox, but I want to see more effort on Godot's side before writing my own. So check this out. This is a new thing here. This is my new little rigid body right here. And notice something about it. It doesn't have a multiplayer synchronizer at all. Right? It's just a rigid body. It has an instance. It has a collision shape, but it has a new node called a synchronizer 3D. Right, and has a mode of update physics. I have a delta interval, my interpolation and extrapolation. This is a new node type. Oh, can't see it. That I'm working on, called a synchronizer 3D, specifically to tackle some of the issues with right, with the interpolation. Right, and having it. This is full, like, authoritative. Well, it will be, right? So let me kind of give this a run real quick here. So let me host. I didn't want to. Oh my god, help. Okay, let me... Note to yourself, don't get in the merry-go-round. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, I'm enjoying. So, this guy here is... Oh, maybe I don't... Is gravity too high, or maybe only you can push it around? Yeah, so this is running a custom synchronizer that I made. But I think right now, only the server right now has authority, and I'm not requesting for it to move, so this guy can't actually do anything with it right now. I would have to, like, do something to cause, you know, to tell the server to move it. But this is much less bandwidth. Because it doesn't update itself when the thing is not moving. If I can profile this real quick here. Check this out. Right, so we have the here's regular synchronizers. Right, so regular synchronizers on the right, my synchronizer on the left. And the second this thing, right, only it's only sending data. And only based upon the delta of change. And then that's it. Doesn't do anything else. So like, this stuff is already, on the right, we already have like stupid amounts of data. I think we're at like 2,400 updates. Right, but the kilobits per second is much better. Eventually we'll go deep into multiplayer on the channel as I get the gameplay stuff finished. Where'd the box go? I'm not gonna kill him while he's spinning. Anyway, scrolling. Don't say no. Right, so that's like some of the issues that I have right now. It's driving me crazy. Is like having to go into the system manager now and making network version that will spawn a ship to the network to a landing pad, and it's literally all of this has now been like unified, like getting the ships from the ship resource. And then spawning in that specific player ship, setting the ID. You're doing a bit of an icon grinding session at the moment for items in my game. Nice. So glad the inventory crafting system worked. Yeah, nice. So for player ships. I'm here barely working through like an angular dampening spring system. Y'all doing it all. Well, the answer to that question, Codex, is because I'm not doing a crazy angular dampening spring system. I feel like that's something that someone should have finished. You know, I try not to reinvent the wheel as much as I can. I don't even want to reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to like. Yeah, it's being all handled by a series of scriptable objects, and for them like custom behaviors and groups of items, food. Yep, that's very similar to how I have done my itemization for all my commodities in Unforgiven space, but they're resources, which are the Unity version of a scriptable object. It's exactly the same thing, and it's such a great way of doing it. As if you think about it, like let me just show you my resources folder. So like this is all exactly the same as Unity. So like we have a store. Let's close these out. So resources are red. So I can literally, for all of my items in the game, let's say ship components, you know, here they are, right? The ship component, what type it is, it's a medium size. Here's the prefab. Absolutely keeping my Unity, you know. So like this is what actually loads in. This is a comm system, and none of the data exists here. The only thing that actually does exist here is this ID will be set based upon the object. Right, so when it loads it in, it just sets the ID. I do have the item component data put here, like it is a computer, it's medium, but ideally it shouldn't be the responsibility of the asset to have this data, right? The ship component spawns it and sets that data. So then I can change the base price. Anything about this component now and its stats, I should be able to change at the resource level. So coolers, fuel scoops, you know, and the downside is that Godot is one script per node, but these are not nodes. These are resources. These are all just in the scene, or these are all in the editor. There's no, you know, resources are not nodes. So then when you have a store, as an example, like let's go to an item component shop, right? You just can create your ship component shop, and here's the inventory, right? And then the inventory is just a ship component item resource, and then you kind of just set up whatever you want to buy, whatever you want to sell, what the demand is, what the supply is. You know, it's all done on a resource level. You just mean the behaviors. I need more coffee. You can add metadata if you want to use metadata for some type of abstraction of something. And what's weird is you can add an unlimited amount of metadata. Right, like you can have just in Unity components or add it in the inspector, but in Godot you add a node to the yeah. That's pretty much the only difference. And then there's an extra level of complexity, which you can probably call it complexity of having to use composition on the base node. But I mean, it's not that bad. And it all depends on what that node does. Like if you have an Area 3D that's sensing things, it can do that independently as a subcomponent, you know. The difference being the life cycle. Like I love like the Godot's node system now. Now that I'm using it, it forces very nice, clean composition of things, and I think it works really well. Like, you know, like I do have a script on everything, and a lot of these don't necessarily need to be 3D nodes. You know. In Godot, each one has a full life cycle. What do you mean by that? Like nodes don't need to be processing. You can have a, you know, a node not run, like not queue up the process mode buffer by just, yeah, but those can be disabled on nodes that you don't need. And then their cost is arbitrary. If you don't need them, why add them? Well, you do need them is the issue, because it's a limitation. Right? But I get around that by making sure that each thing is using the node, like a shield as an example, you know, is a is a static body, which it is. You know what I mean? Like that's what the shield is. It's a static body. It has a shape, which is its own unique mesh shape. And this would have to be, like added to the scene tree anyway, because it's, it is its own thing. And then by like abstracting, inheriting the shield from the, static body 3D, right? It's using the node that it would be using for its own collision anyway. It's the same thing with like sensors on a ship as an example, right? Like what are sensors? Well, they're right. They're an area, which is what we're seeing here, all the way when I zoom out, and it's independently responsible for, right, things that are like entering and exiting, registering themselves into that list. But the reality is, like, you can't add more than one script to a single node, so you will need to create more nodes. But it does help clarify then in a structure, what things are doing what systemically. Therefore, but I don't know maybe on the life cycle, like because I don't know, like a component on a game object would have the exact same life cycle as different nodes, because each component has fixed update and has all of those kind of, when you add a script that inherits mono behavior, right? Every one of those mono behaviors on that game object have the capability of running fixed update and running fixed update gameplay loops. So they're still adding to exactly, that's my point, right? Is they have full cycles through the components of a mono behavior in the same way of extending a node. Like a mono behavior and a node or node 3D would be exactly the same as far as their like life cycle cost, or I would assume, because for each component it would add, to the iterative loop of process, right? If it chooses to use it. Because I don't know if if in Unity, if you create a mono behavior and you don't use fixed update or whatever the difference is, update, if it is truly not added to the to the iteration of the game engine. It's the same way you can use resources as components, but I don't like that concept of using resources. But node is the same concept. Node extends the Godot object, and they have the same type of hierarchy. They're still probably architecturally different. Hey, Pingless Blaze. How goes development? Good. I got pool in the game. Let me show you. Well, first let me show you the single player stuff, and then we'll do the multiplayer stuff. And ignore all of this placeholder stuff. All this placeholder stuff exists because the guys were trying to test the systems build, and they wanted once I fix something, 1 second. And then I gotta get a new coffee. Okay, let me change this back to 1. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let me show you what works in single. Let's do a little bit of both. So this is a little test. Like all of the vehicle components and stuff like that are now working in multiplayer. All the bounties and everything now work. So the ability to go and do NPC bounties or ship bounties. If I do a NPC bounty, I'm just going to accept one. We're going to do it later. Right, so here's my ship bounty or my NPC bounty. Oh, and they're actually right there. So they kind of spawn in at a random station. You have to find them. I'm not going to go into their sound area or anything. I'm just going to kill them, just to show that the system works. Right, and that we've completed it, and that we've made some money. 2,400 credits. Doing a security bounty. And I should have my ship sales, I think. So it said all of this stuff, just random gray box stuff. Because I want to redesign the way the hangar storage and everything works. And I don't have a ship. It makes sense, this is a test account. Crap, okay. Oh, just wait until you see the extent of it now, though, because all of the systems are now in place. So we need to go buy a ship. So I actually had to play the game right now. So we're going to buy, because I want to do a mining mission. So we are going to buy one transport ship and one ore mining ship. And we're not going to worry about the... So this little test station was recreated in the gray box version because Sliver and a few others that are testing the game, we want to get an idea of how long it takes to kind of outfit and kind of configure a ship. So let's bring up our transport ship. So by default now there are no components, but the ships don't actually work without components. So now you actually have the music I'm playing is actually from just a sci-fi space rock thing. Music's turned off. Alright, so let's buy 2 tri-lasers, power plant. So it's a lot more annoying now because you actually need to have this stuff attached where the ship doesn't work, including a warp drive. No warp drive. We're going to do a default loadout, but for testing, we actually left it alone for the time being. I don't need coolers right now because I know the ship isn't being systemically cooled. But and we don't need shields, but I definitely need some weapons. And I'm gonna just kind of clip into the side and throw on the excellent. No, I want to do refinery missions, so I'm gonna go ahead and store this version. So let me store the ship. And just to confirm that it's working, so we stored it. Found it in and it works, and we're going to also let's make it pink. There we go, and restore it again. Okay, so this is the one that I want. This is the mining version, and the mining version does come with a base loadout. Oh, actually it doesn't. Never mind. Yeah, the idea is you can actually change the default loadout. Like you can choose to buy it with base components, and it just changes the. I need to actually check and see how much money I have. Okay, no, I'm still good. Let me just buy what I know I need. So 2 mining lasers. And if you don't have like both of the mining beams, if you're only using one and one, it sucks because it's very slow. And I just want the warp drive. I don't care about the fuel scoop. I'm totally yeeting myself up. Alright, so we want to do a mining mission. So we're going to go to refinery terminal. There's 2 types. There's gas mining and there's ore mining. Right, so this is like how much fuel, how much ore. They're both wrapped in under refinery right now. So we want to do... Oh, that would have been an easy one if we actually had the... oh, wait, ore, here we go. Yep, 2,500 credits for 341 units of ore. Which is cool. Let me close this up. And we're going to go do some mining. Oh, no, my ship's bugged. One second. Let me... I absolutely didn't wait for the animation to finish. It's absolutely Flintstone powered. I have a feeling I need to restore this thing. When I initially, yeah. I don't think I'm getting the ore. I might be getting the... We'll go back and check, but I think it's not registering the... Just run back to the station real quick. So I think there's a bug when you first... Let me just store this thing. And spawn it again. That the hoppers are not resetting. Which should be good. Which should be good to test. I'm gonna just clip through this here real quick. Let's go back and see if we can get some more ore. Because our ore should be going up, unless we broke something. think there's a couple here that still have that are broke. Let me see if I can scoop these up. Yep, it's working now. So the ship system just wasn't updating when I attached the tractor beams. So I was like, wait a second, you don't have any tractor beams. You can't pull up any of this shit. What are you talking about? So it's kind of systemically, I guess you could say that the tractor beams weren't like hooking up to the storage volumes. And this is early, like, you know, I'm gonna change the graphics of all this stuff. I just put some particle effects on them to show that we're absorbing the fractures once they've been fractured. So we're at like 10% ore hold, as long as we can finish the mission. The same thing with the actual fracturing and the way that they clump. That'll be redone. But right now I'm just thinking about all of this from an economics and time frame. Like, how long is it taking the player to do this? Right? What's the like? How much are they actually making from it? Is it satisfying the station's demands? Right? As I start creating like the list of, you know, commodities that the stations are going to require. So, you know, getting ice, because ice turns into water, water turns into hydrogen. So we have life support systems, we have fuel. Right? There's all of that to kind of take into consideration, as well as obviously the mechanic and. So we need like 300 units, I think, for the mission. Convergence is sucking right now because it's not, you know, I don't have the gimbals actually defaulting to a certain convergence level that kind of makes sense. Have you seen Triple Jump Games game? Nope. Is a sand falling game heavily based on physics? Cool. I'm just gonna get like 40% of my hole filled and we'll go back. Sometimes I hate watching to see all this progress while I'm struggling on a player controlling vehicle. It's gonna get worse in a second if you see what I've done over the last 2 days, which is none of this stuff. We need to put the door on the back of this one too. All right, mission, here we go. So we got it. We're gonna make, what's the reward? What, I had the reward in there. Anyway, so let's sell off the 4,000 ore. I just sold it. Oh, nope, don't go to free cam. Mission is now complete. We just made money. We satisfied the station's demands. And I'm wrapping up some work on my AI bot where I'm giving the AI a video generation feature so they can make any picture talk naturally. Oh, that's cool. I love those. One of the few devs that gives me imposter syndrome. Who is the guy that makes that game? Me. Hang on. Let's go even crazy. Let me throw this thing down. Do some purple. Binary missions. I don't remember what I need to do here. Store it. All right, let's go show you what's new. This is the fun part. I keep saying I'm gonna go get more coffee, and I forget. But anyway, I'll show Codex the fun part first. Okay, so move this down here so I can see it. Codex in orange, boom, join. Rev and Twitch purple. So, Penguins, can you do this in Star Citizen? Can you fully play pool? Totes! That's what we're making, man. Space game with blackjack and hookers. Oh yeah, and I just immediately scratch. Listen, I'm not good at this, okay? I'm just gonna... If you actually make GTA of space, that'll be amazing. Hopefully. Maybe just like forward momentum. Still scratching. So it's completely like different gravity. That's what makes it so weird. It's low friction, low gravity, high absorption forces, but I need to obviously adjust it because like that's not putting in enough force. So that's just setting up the balls and stuff to be more accurate. I also need a tool for interacting with them, like something you actually like use as like a laser pointed thing. Like I think I'm just going to use a little weapon to do it. It'd be like a little gravity repulsor or something. I think that'll be like fine. And you just grab them from the wall. So you just go up to the wall, grab one. You have like a little mini gun that you're using, and then you're just kind of like laser, on the ball, and then boop, and you scroll wheel to adjust the force. Right, so it'd be like Knuckles, like a weapon that's just kind of here, and you just kind of aim it, and boop. I think that would work fine. I'm not animating pool cues and all that IK, and that's not happening. I mean, maybe as some future update or something. I just wanted to get these in the build so people can mess with it and actually play with it, because it does work and it does reset the table. The issue I have right now is the balls get kind of filled and they're not really going anywhere once they get pocketed. And it makes it a bit weird and awkward. But hey, if we're playing it, it exists. It's in the build. And this is what's neat. This is the new stuff. So watch, now I go as Codex. I can now jump in my ship. And apparently I have two ships on top of each other. It's perfectly fine. Everything's okay. I guess I'll take this one. Seems I spawned in too. So now all of this stuff works. So if I come over here now and I go into hangar, this is what I was working on when you guys kind of showed up. So I'm now in the hangar, it's all working. I find the proto hangar, let's go find my other player here. See, there's Codex in there, in this hangar, in the ship, all attached. I'm just going to take this hanger. And I'm going to clip through. Well, I'm just going to yeet my way over here. Low gravity. Right, and all of this is now working. I can detach. Right, and I can actually, if you look, you can actually see the, you know, the thing trying to track me as I leave. And it'll pick me up as I come back in. And we can go together, we can play the game together, we can, you know, work on the ship. Alright, so I got all the item components and stuff like that now working in multiplayer. Right now, only the person who owns the ship, you know, is kind of spawning it, like, you know, for themselves and outfitting it, and it's not replicated. And that's this kind of stuff I need to change. So this is kind of, this is a lot further along now. It's a lot nicer now that I can actually see. I don't own this ship, so I don't really have the rights to take this off. So this is like out of sync, right? And if I go and fix it real quick, put it back. Oh, maybe it's not actually doing it. It's probably because it's a default loadout. This is the stuff I'm working on now, right? Getting the multiplayer ships actually synchronizing all their components. If I go to back this thing up now, bad things are going to happen. Yeah, still Godot. Yeah, Godot and a lot of custom, you know, stuff. And my weapons will probably actually fire from where they were on the ground. Yeah, so this is kind of, you know, where I am with stuff now. What's cool, though, very, very, very soon, you'll see it come together. Because you know, we have the main project in a separate repo. Not a separate repo, a separate project, which is like final graphics, you know, everything that came from Unity. We've never gotten back to this point, right, where we're using all the assets from the original build. Because I haven't needed it, right? It's just, I need to kind of remake the game and get it all working. We don't care if we're using Greybox, because that makes sense. But I take that project and I just push that, right, you know, push it into this one. Just kind of update everything, and then swap out the models. Oh, didn't like that. No, I didn't like that. Sure. And then that's going to be super cool. But the biggest thing that I need now, other than finishing some of this stuff, is 3D Artist. To flesh out the new stations, right? Like, this is what the ship looks like, you know, in the game, and what the player looks like in the game. I want it all to come together, you know, and now that deliveries are working and cargo is working, I want to actually I want to get all the different cargo boxes in the build, the different commodities, all the economic stuff of that can be tested, obviously, you know, now in the systems build. But I can't wait for players to look like this, you know what I mean? I can't wait for them to look down and see themselves as they are, you know, jump in the ship, do everything we're doing now with the NPCs and the stations and yeah, wouldn't that be cool? You know what I mean? Like this is so, you know, because I don't show this off very often because there's nothing new here. Right, but this will be cool, man. Because like all the camera systems here are all up to date, so all the like the inertia and the dampening and the targeting is so much better. Right, we have the real CRT shader down there. So in my head, I know, you know what I mean. It's gonna look cool. It's gonna be great when I get there, and like having different stations, it's gonna be awesome. Where's that nav point so I can target that chip? Oh, and again, the targeting is not working now in this build. There's all the collision layers. I did push stuff into this build. Like I pushed a code base in here regularly to see what breaks, but I'm not going to spend the time fixing it. I want to get the asteroids actually looking like asteroids, and you know, the mining ship, not a gray box. It's going to be cool, like a real configuration to the ship. Yeah, like all the gravity stuff needs to be reset up in this build. Whee! Because the underside, when this thing is fully outfitted with the actual stuff, it's gonna look really cool. It's gonna be neat. I could rush it, but I know it doesn't matter. Like I'll gain nothing from rushing it, other than I'll get the trailer done early, and I really want to do an in-progress working trailer. But I mean, how cool would it be to show it off and show like the guys actually playing pool together? You know what I mean? Doing a mission together. There's a lot right now I can show, but if it looked good, at least to get the Patreon moving. But I just believe the Patreon won't increase until there's more to show. I think players need more faith in the project, and then once there's more faith in the project, I believe the Patreon will take off. Right? That's the that's my feel. You know, it'll grow. Right? If you look at Vostok and we're there too, you know, like they're crazy. But this has all been rebranded. It's no longer monolithic. It's all done now under the studio. So just patreon.com/Unforgiven space for those interested. Yeah, and this whole Unity can go away. But yeah, so the pipeline now is just making things work well in multiplayer. What is this? You make it, they'll come. That's my thought process, Wolfpack. You know, just put your heads down, keep working on it. You know what I mean? Like it'll either prove itself or it won't. Did you say he was building hookers? Blackjack and hookers is a part of the game. Yeah, but it has a mining laser connected. So visuals here. I'm just gonna copy this whole node. I don't know why this material doesn't look right. Player ship body. So I'm gonna put this into the network version of the regular ship. I ever like that this thing is rotated around. So this ship visuals just needs access to the model. The model itself defines the actual panels and the visual meshes. Oh wait, no, no, what am I doing? Body tanks. Body panel. Body under. Alright, so that should be everything. Engine mounts under wing, body, tanks, and underbelly. Alright, I'm gonna go get that coffee that I wanted. when we'll finish outfitting. What I would like to accomplish today is to get the multiplayer version of the ship spawning with the colors that the player has chosen. But it's kind of complicated because right now I'm gonna be like, hey, in multiplayer there's only this ship. And I've just hard-coded a scene. This is the ship that we use in multiplayer and that's it. But I don't want to do that anymore. I want to use the player resources, so the stuff that the player is saving out to the file, right? But only the transport version. So I want to, you know, when you're listing the ships, I want to show, you know, which, you know, if you've owned a mining or a transport ship, sorry, pull up, you know, just filter your currently owned ships by just the ones that have network versions, and those are the spawnables. And if you guys are interested, definitely check out the YouTube as well. YouTube.com/revere. Definitely trying to get the YouTube presence up before I start making devlogs. Have you made a mod for KCD? What is that? For Castle? What? What Kerbal Space? I don't know what KCD2 is. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I haven't even played the second one. I'd love to play the second one. The first one was really good. There's a ship terminal network panels reading. Which really needs to be called ship panel, not terminal. Yeah, and we can just limit them, but which ones are networked or not. Huh? Yep. You've been making swords? Hang on. It's a good guy released. It's good. A guy released a very good mod, and his name was sort of like your name, so I wonder if it was you. Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah. I've been making like swords for the game. Cool. What does the mod do? It just adds castles. He made it so Destroyed Castle is a player home with NPC guards. Oh, that's cool. I gotta bring my dogs out in just a little bit here. So this new panel is just going to do what the player does, make the O key, but utilize all the other systems. So we know more randomly spawning in ships in multiplayer. We'll have to go to the terminal and spawn in the ship. You know, the old school way. Oh my god, I hate ClickUps. Key bindings. Alright, so this one, I know we bought. So we want to limit. In the middle of doing that, I just realized why the ball is, why the balls aren't synchronized on certain clients. Yeah, so these ships. Should have a resource. Right, so it's the ship ID. Crap. Check in DB for ship ID. Yeah, so we're only really checking to see if they're valid when we're actually spawning them. This is what I want to do, to check and see if they're networkable or not. Excuse me. So once we have a ship resource, we're gonna find the ship resource for it. Network scene is null. We want to just continue. Alright, look up the actual ship asset and see if it has a network scene. If it doesn't have a network scene, we're not going to spawn it. We're only going to list ones that do. So we buy 2 ships on the network panel, we should only see the one that has a network scene. So I'm the first client, this one is the second client. So I don't have any ships on this account. Too armed to function. And there's just the one. It does not like me doing whatever I'm doing. I pressed it a few times. Oh god. It crashed out that client. It's funny. Rip. Yeah, I'm ready to give it a break. I'm gonna go bring the dog out. Maybe finish my. Maybe get supper. Some of the raid is getting too warm. Way too warm. That's what I'll do here, guys. I'll leave it here on YouTube. Find someone to raid. We just gotta get this network manager stuff all hooked up to that new panel. I gotta test this. This was all created kind of like ad hoc. But that's the goal anyway. The goal of today is to have players spawning in their own ship. I can disable that hotkey that just spawns a random ship and instead spawns their ship. And what I would like as a stretch goal for today is to have the color be set. Do whatever the color. I don't care about them changing the color. They can do that offline for the time being. Just hey, like these ships I purchased in single player mode testing, which are saved locally. I want to load them up and then send them as a RPC request to the server. Here's my configuration, which I've serialized. Spawn this for me. Ideally, all of this will be on the backend API anyway. We'll end it here on the YouTube.